Hello, Dr. Cooper. I have had a multitude of technical difficulties. I have created this video so many times. I can't decide if I'm a fool or tenacious. But anyway, here we go. My biggest dilemma is that I cannot exceed 15 minutes or I'm not enabled to upload my video to YouTube. So I'm going to make it lickety split. So that I don't talk too slowly or take too long to do specific things. Here is the data that I started off with that you can see. I've got all this data and I would like to make some pivot charts, and I cannot do that unless I prepare the data to do so. And so I have done that here. In my, I call this my pivot table ready data. I have shortened the Texas unique student ID numbers. I got rid of middle names. I shortened the campus number so that it wasn't so huge. And then the big thing that I did was that I took the scale score and turned it into first, second, and third administrations. Those are the state scores, and they've already manipulated that data. So I'm going to be playing with the raw data, first, second, and third score. So I have those all into their own columns so I don't have double numbers in columns. So here we go. What I wanted to do was I wanted to make a pivot chart and get some information about my my data. And so what I did was I said insert, and then I picked my pivot table. And from my pivot table, I selected new worksheet, and then I said okay, and up it brought my my pivot table. And you can see that I created 3 of them. I truly did create all of them one time. It took me too long. Then I just created 1 for you. And again, I was at 16.5 minutes. So in this instance, I want you to see that I have all 3 charts. The 2018 star reading raw score total by campus sum total, and campus average, and campus standard deviation. So if I were to go ahead and click on my table over here behind my picture would be the table fields that I used. So of course my filters and my rows and my values. So that's what I did there. And I also went ahead and did a right click on it, and in my format cells under numbers, I have 0 decimal places here because I do not want the decimal places for the sum total. So I've got that going on. I shortened the gap between the bars, and I also had 3 schools who were like in the gutter. They didn't provide enough data to impact anything significantly, so I went ahead and removed those. I know that I could, if I wanted, I could quickly change the chart by going from all to just the females, just the males, or I could look at just one specific ethnicity, or just one specific grade level. So the pivot chart is a wonder. It's so awesome. Did the same thing down here, but in this instance, I'm looking at the average. And so when I got over here to my values, I selected average. I'm just going to go ahead and right click on that. It's not letting me do what I want to do. My value field settings, and from there, that's where I picked average. So yay, I've got that going on. And again, I did, in this instance, the numbers that I'm getting, I had huge numbers after the decimal, and it was just too much to look at. So I went ahead and did a right click on that. And again, I went to my, every time my format cells, there we go. And then I went to number again. And then this time I said 2 numbers can come after the decimal, but not 27. Okay, so now I'm going to slip down here to my standard deviation chart. And as you can see, I've got my pivot table, and my parameters, my fields in this instance, I've got, again, my filters are gender, ethnicity, race, grade enrolled 1819. I am looking at the county campus numbers. And this time for my values, I was looking at standard deviation of raw score. So though I set my value field settings for that, see standard deviation. And I said, okay. All right, so once I had that, again, I went through and got rid of the schools who just had too little data to be helpful to me. I labeled my chart. I got rid of the gap width. The way I did that was to click on one of the bars and right click on it, and I'm going to format that data series. And I'm coming over here and changing the gap width. I changed it to 20% instead of 200+%. And then I also I'm going to go ahead and get my, I'm going to click out of that and get my pivot table fields back up for me. Then I also, with my little plus bar, this enabled me to pick data labels, which is super helpful. There's other things that I can do with this, but 3 great pivot tables that I'm super glad that I am able to confidently create them. Okay, so next we want to do some descriptive statistics. And so what we do in this instance is we've got to go back to our data. And I have my descriptive statistics data all ready to go. Again, I'm not going to be playing with the scale score. I'm going to be looking at raw score first administration. And I also on the end here have grade enrolled. I didn't delete the academic readiness. I know that I could have done that to save me just some space, but I just didn't fret about it. Okay, so from here, what I'm going to want to do is, first of all, I make sure that I've got I click on data, and I make sure that I've got my data analysis tool pack right here, and I certainly do. So I go ahead and click on it, and when it pops up, I tell the data analysis tools that I want the descriptive statistic tools. Yes, please, that is what I want. And then it gives me all kinds of options. And my question is, throughout my district, how did everyone do on the scale score for the reading test 1819? I recognize that the tests aren't apples and apples. I've got some apples, some oranges, some bananas. The tests are a little bit different, but I do want to see who passed it and how scores compared. That's what I'm looking at. So I am going to, in my input range, I'm coming on over here to my raw score, and I'm going to click on it, and that gives me my input range right here. So awesome. Then I'm going to say, remember, there are labels in the first row, so be aware of that, or that will screw up my numbers. I also want a new worksheet. I want summary statistics. I want confidence level for mean, and then I'm going to do the kth largest and the kth smallest. I like that. And then I've got to have my output range. Maybe I don't. I'm going to go ahead and say, okay. Every time I get to here, I'm like, ooh, let's see. Up it pops. Oh my absolute goodness. I'm so happy. So yes, it did. And I'm going to spread things out so we can take a better look at them. And there we go. Okay, so here I have my mean, standard error, median mode, standard deviation, sample variance, kurtosis. So excited to learn more about that, skewness, range, max and min. And we did talk about the fact that the minimum score, the lowest score is 0, and that is our mode, because there were quite a few kids who in the first administration either didn't take the test or got a 0 on it. So anyway, I have all this information. Again, I would like to highlight this column, the column with my data in it, and I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, And I want to format the cells. And I want in the number to just have there be 2 numbers after the decimal place, just 2, so that I can see the numbers a little